Welcome to the RavensSpace on YouTube. My name is Jason and this is RavensSpace Daily, where we talk about Baltimore Ravens news every single weekday. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We'll hop right into our news, but first I want to thank our Patreon subscribers, and I also want to say if you're not subscribed to the RavensSpace on YouTube, please subscribe for more great Baltimore Ravens content. Now we have 3 great news stories that I'm super excited to hop in, so we'll get started. The first story of the day is about Zach Orr, and Zach Orr announced today that he is coming back to the NFL. He's coming out of retirement. Now there's a lot of ways to look at this. The first is that he's a player who was an All-Pro last year. He made the second team All-Pro. He played great at the middle linebacker position. He played very, very well in the passing game, and he played well in the running game. And I think this is good news for him, the fact that he feels he can play and he wants to play. And I think this is good news for the Ravens, because even though the Ravens don't exclusively have his rights, I think that the Ravens and that environment that they have is something that he wants to come back to. Now, it depends on how much he's planning to make. So the bad part about this is that the Ravens, through some measure, I guess, lost the exclusive rights to him, so they have to sign him on a contract. I don't know how this works. I don't know the ins and outs. Maybe the Ravens released him or something like that, but I thought that he retired. And when a player like a Macklin or something like that from a little while back, he now plays for the Cowboys. But when a player retires and comes back, I thought you had their rights still if their contract wasn't up, but I might be wrong about that. Let me know in the comments if you guys know. The Ravens have a chance to get this great middle linebacker that I think will help our team immensely. Another way to look at this is that, can he play? Is he healthy, right? Does the NFL or the Baltimore Ravens or any team want a player that can snap their spine on the field? And that's just the truth. And I know it sounded very harsh when I just said it, but it's the truth. If he plays and gets cleared by a doctor, that's always going to be a real risk for him. Now, a lot of people think that the Ravens doctors won't clear him, and I would not be surprised if that's the case. A lot of Ravens players want him, and you guys will see on the screen right now, I have a lot of tweets that were made from Tony Jefferson, where he says, yo, need me to pick you up or what? I love Tony Jefferson. Tavon Young tweets to him. You got Michael Campanero tweeting at him. And then you also have Brandon Williams on Instagram. In my opinion, he was a great player last year. And it was one of those things where you know something, but you're not sure if the rest of the world sees it the way you do. So I knew that he was having a great season last year, but I didn't know if everyone else in the world thought that as well. I thought they, might see something different. Because I thought Zach Orr, up to a point, like midway through the season, before you saw that he got injured, he was like one of the best, in my opinion, linebackers in the league. He was playing that well. And then when everyone else saw it as well, I was like, oh man, this guy's balling out. I saw it early, they saw it early, it's all good. So I think if he comes back to the Ravens, he'll be a great player. I'm not sure if he'll pass the test, but if he does and the Ravens can get him for cheap, I think that we should go get Zach Orr back out there, and I will be super excited to see that. Let me know how you guys feel about Zach Orr and the news in the comments below. And the next story talks about the biggest building blocks for every NFL team. And for the Baltimore Ravens, they said the biggest building block was CJ Mosley. And I think this is almost obvious. CJ Mosley, in my opinion, is the best young player the Ravens have, and he's the best player on the Ravens defense. Now you have great players like Weddle and Jefferson. The middle linebacker position, especially for the Ravens, calls the plays, gets the front 7 lined up, and CJ Mosley not only does that, he's playing at a high level physically, where he's dropping back in passes, when he's going and he's getting sacks, stopping the run. I believe he led our team in interceptions last season. Different things like that, and he's always involved, and he does still make like young player mistakes. You guys all remember the fumble against the Washington Redskins, but CJ Mosley is special. He's a special player. Maybe the best Alabama product to come out in a long time. I'm super excited. I'll read you guys the blurb from the Bleacher Report. Mosley remains one of the best young linebackers in the game. Why do I say that? Because he makes so many standout plays. He's always around the ball. He is making plays on backs. He's making plays on receivers. He's getting his hands on the ball, and he's chasing balls down. He's just a tremendous football player. And I agree with all of that. And if the Baltimore Ravens defense, this iteration, wants to be great, CJ Mosley is going to be one of the building blocks that's going to help make that team great. And I'm super excited to see him play at the next level. And to become a Pro Bowl caliber player, like a defensive MVP caliber player. and I hope that the Ravens help mold him and make that happen. So let me know what you guys think about CJ Mosley and if he's one of your favorite players. And then the third article of the day is about Ronnie Stanley, and Pro Football Focus has Ronnie Stanley graded as the most efficient rookie OT pass blocker. So what this means is that as a rookie, there's no one more efficient than Ronnie Stanley at pass blocking. And again, this is one of those eye test things. You can tell Ronnie Stanley's a shining star for the Ravens because when you watched him, especially in passing situations, he played well, and he played against some of the top competition in the league and didn't give up many sacks. And now it's hard when you're a lineman because linemen don't move, right? So when I say that, linemen don't go from left tackle to right tackle, right? But defensive ends and pass rushers can go from left outside linebacker to right outside linebacker, right? So for example, if Von Miller isn't getting pressure on one side, he can go to the coaches, they can scheme him up on the other side. So it's sometimes hard to see always how Ronnie Stanley does against the best because they will move, right? They do stunt and do different things like that. But against the best, Ronnie Stanley still played great. He only allowed 3 sacks last season. And for a rookie at the hardest position on the offensive line, that's super, super great. And I'm super excited that we do have a building block on offense now to help bolster the offensive line. And like I said last episode, is that I do have access to Pro Football Focus. I do pay for the subscription so I can talk to you guys about it and give you guys insider information. And so on the screen, I'll put up Ronnie Stanley's Pro Football Focus highlight. And it talks about his grade and his position rank. So on his highlight sheet, Ronnie Stanley had an 81.1 Pro Football Focus grade for the whole entire season. And again, on this snapshot, I can't give you like the in-depth stuff. So I'll try to find a way to do that for you guys so it looks good. But what I can tell you and show you is that Ronnie Stanley was ranked 26th among tackles in the NFL. And a score of 81.1 for a rookie, especially an offensive lineman at the left tackle position, is a great score. I'm super happy that Ronnie Stanley is good enough to achieve that. And again, he's going to be a building block for our team for a long time to come. He could be another Jonathan Ogden. And like we do at the end of every RavensSpace Daily, we get a question from you guys, the RavensSpace community. And this question comes from Vaughn. And Vaughn asks, I think the offense will rank 11 and the defense will rank 3rd, behind the Texans and Patriots. Where do you think the D and offense are ranked? Thank you so much, Vaughn, for your question. Now, again, it's hard for me to go into it right now because a lot of things can happen and change. People will get injured, people will outperform and people will underperform, but I'll give you a ballpark of the landscape today. I can guarantee you the Ravens will be a top 4-3 defense. So you're right on with that one, Vaughn. And anyone else who thought that, I think that with the depth at the cornerback position, especially now in today's NFL, you're kind of made in heaven. The only piece that the Ravens don't know yet is the pass rush. And if the pass rush gets there, we can be dominant. But for right now, I would say that it's either between the 4th spot and the 1st spot. Now, there are a couple of teams that might be better than us defensively, and those teams would be, like you said, the Patriots, who I think is the best team right now defensively and actually overall as well, the Texans, and the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks defense is still great, and I think they do have the best defensive backs in the league. So those 3, and then us at number 4 maybe. Now for offense, again, I think we'll be better than last year. But with James Hurst at the right tackle, and this is the last time I'm gonna beat up on James, but with James Hurst at the right tackle, I just don't know. I would say that we're gonna be middle of the pack, maybe 14, 15, 16. Now, again, if the run game improves, then maybe we can be pushed up a little bit. But right now, we don't have a running back that's a superstar. Our offensive line is patchy in the 3 areas, in my opinion. I think left guard, we still know enough about Lewis. Center, we don't know enough about anyone there. And then right tackle, we know enough about James Hurst, but it's the bad kind. Receiver, I think, is good. This is the best receiving core the Ravens have ever had. I think we're going to be fine. This is the receiver I'm not worried about. I'm also worried about tight end. So, we don't know what we have there either. So there's a lot of question marks still on offense. So I think middle of the pack is where I would go for that. So a little bit lower than 11. But that's my opinion. Let me guys know what your opinion is in the comments below. And that is the end of the episode for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to The RavensSpace on YouTube. Follow us on different social media. Check out our Patreon page and have a good time for the rest of your day. I'll see you guys here tomorrow. Thank you guys so much, and go Ravens.